Questions, please, David.
Yeah, Mike, just what is your approach with these weekends? Do you like to throw a lot at them, see how they process it, or just give them a little and not overwhelm them, or just what do you do over the 3 days?
I would say definitely the times have changed. I mean, I think like anything in life, you go through some adversity. I'm talking about the pandemic. Pandemic taught us a lot. And one of the things is virtual education and interaction. These players, I can't say enough about the whole class and the coaching staff, the time that they've spent from the time they were drafted, up until their arrival yesterday, where this group clearly is significantly further ahead than the last two classes, coming in here because of the virtual opportunities. So you can see that right away. I mean, I say that we just had a practice. Obviously, that's why I was running late. A lot of corrections, but it's and that's normal. But yeah, just the way they came in and the understanding, sitting in Dan's meeting and going through calls and a lot of head nodding. Kellen going through putting the ball in play and going through formations and guys are already calling them out. That's not normal. So that's a real credit to the players and coaches for the amount of time that they've spent already going into this weekend. Second part of that, David, I would say is, in the earlier days of my head coaching career, this used to be a 3-practice, go for the moon. And what I found was it was great work, but then they go from rookie mini camp into 4 days the following week with the veterans. And then by the time you get to Tuesday, Wednesday, I mean, the risk for injury for that group, was really accelerated. So I personally got away from the rookie mini camp that we all grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, and that's why we call it a rookie orientation camp. And we really split the day between football and their personal transition here to be a Dallas Cowboy. I mean, the little things of where they're going to eat, their residence, transportation, all those things. Open up a bank account, just all the basics that you just take a little extra time to get it right on the front end on their arrival. So then start Monday when they are acclimated with the veterans, that they can get into a flow, and it has served me very well probably the last 10 years doing it that way, where their transition's been smoother, and I didn't feel like we ran into as many injuries, particularly fatigue injuries, in their first week of activity. Because, I mean, hey, let's be honest, there's a lot of stress, anxiety, excitement, all the above. There's a lot of emotion that goes into their arrival for everybody, for all of us. We're excited to see them. They're excited to be here. The work has been tremendous. Real excited about the group as a whole. So we got off to a good start.
What exactly is the virtual meeting framework leading up to this orientation mini camp?
It's all positional. I think like anything, as you move up in this league through, as a coordinator and a head coach, you really appreciate and admire the amount of work and the details that the position coach puts into, coaching his particular group. And with that being said, we all have a starting point. We all have an individual section that it just takes time, and just for a quarterback example, the ability to talk about every footwork and how it applies to a particular play, and just you're not going to get that all done over a weekend. So ability to take that literally 10 days of just this is how the huddle's formed and all the starting point things. It gives those position coaches a chance to really cover A through Z, and then and now they're able to at least speak the language, or at least recognize and understand the language when they get here. So it's really all those meetings have been individual position based.
In the last few seasons, you've seen unprecedented rookie success. How would you describe your rookie culture here in Dallas?
24 hours into it, it's really good. I mean, it was fun last night. They all traveled during the morning. The physicals went on throughout the afternoon, and we kicked it off. I thought Jerry was tremendous at 6 o'clock and welcomed them, and just laying down the groundwork of what's in front of them as far as the opportunity, and particularly the opportunity as being a Dallas Cowboy. We had some fun with their old uniforms and things like that, and acknowledged every one of them, their success in college, but then the reality is, this is the starting point of what it is to be a Dallas Cowboy, what it takes to be a Dallas Cowboy. We had a really cool tradition and history video that our crew puts together, and it's kind of funny because near the end we transition all these great highlights over the decades of Dallas Cowboy history, and then you have all these Hall of Famers speaking on what it means to be a Dallas Cowboy, and then the video ends with the players, their highlights from college, and then, like I told them, I said, you guys even had taken a snap, and you guys are already in the highlight tape with the greatest players in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. So that's a pretty good start. But I've always enjoyed the Thursday night dinner, welcoming meeting, and then frankly, I think we finished up about 7:30, and then they went with their position coaches to probably 9 o'clock, and then it was all football today. So, but yeah, I think they're off to a really good start.
For the record, I asked Tyler Smith the same question, and he said after your intro, he called you charming.
Charming. Wow. I did a poor job then. That's not what I was trying to do.
That's a mean cuss starting off with.
What's that?
You gotta start off being a cuss. Mean
No,
cuss.
I go the other way.
Oh, you go.
Yeah.
You come hard.
They haven't seen anything yet. Yeah.
The schedule came out yesterday. Your initial thoughts on the schedule, obviously starting with Tampa and Cincy and having the Rams early in the season and the trip to Green Bay.
I mean, I think that the thing that I've always looked at and is really the first 4 games, and I like the fact that the first 2 are at home, and then you have your first division game at home too. So I really like the start of it. Everything else. Thanksgiving, not playing Thanksgiving to Thursday. I thought that was, I like that part of it because I think that's a real challenge playing those 3 games in such a tight period of time. So I thought that was a good change. And then really having a Saturday to Thursday, is a little different wrinkle. But you'd much rather go Saturday to Thursday there. It was at week 16, and it kind of gives you that bye week before your last, mini bye week before your last game. So I like the structure of it. We know we're always going to have the national games, and our travel is going to be a challenge. I have no idea where we rank, but I'm sure we're in the top 10 or as far as the amount of travel and in the night games. And so the travel part of it's always a challenge. But this is year 3, so I feel like I got a handle on that. Going back to Green Bay, I mean that'll be fun. And I was hoping for October or September, but November will be fine.
Starting Tyler out at left guard, he's talking about how he looked today, and clearly that's where he has the least experience.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, I would look at the whole process. I wouldn't get too caught up on where exactly Tyler's playing, and because we're trying to have as constructive practice environment that we can, and as far as how many linemen that we're dealing with, so that's part of that equation and formula. But like I've stated, when he was drafted, he will work both left guard and left tackle. But yeah, I mean you can see the twitch, is something that jumps out at you. So I thought he had a really nice day.
How competitive is the kicker position going to be, not just this weekend, but in the months to come?
Super. I mean, it's wide open. So yeah, it's definitely something I'm sure that I'll be curious to see how you guys use your statistics and analysis. So I'm going to enjoy that sarcastically. So.
Can you give us TrackMan data?
Say again?
Can you give us some TrackMan data?
I'll tell you what. Have you used that?
Heard good things. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I just saw it today for the first time, frankly. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Ferguson. Boy, what didn't you like about him? I like the way he plays. It's the first thing that jumped out. I like his play style. I like his aggressiveness. And I think he's, what you need at tight end because, he's able to play on the ball, off the ball. He's productive as a receiver. But I really like his play style. I don't think you can have enough of those type of guys on your team because not only does he play the tight end position the right way, but you can see it on special teams. You look at Wisconsin; they're one of the few teams in college football that use a pro punt formation. So, I don't know if you were watching, but just on the special teams period, when you watch the punt protection, obviously that's the one you put in first, and that's the one you would usually spend the most time on. He was probably the only one that had any former experience there. You can see in his footwork and you can see in his understanding. So I think he's a very well-rounded football player.
With the wide receivers, you had talked about how you like them playing at all positions. With a young guy like a Tolbert early on, do you just try and have him at one spot, or do you want to throw everything at him right away?
Well, I think it depends on the individual, and just the short time that I've been around Jalen, I think he's going to do fine. He's young, and frankly, one one of the things he made a big point of in our initial conversation was, he's pretty young at the game of football. He hasn't played a lot of football. So, to me, that's exciting, because using his words, he said, I don't know how high my ceiling is, but I think it's going to be pretty damn high. So, and I was like, hell yeah, it's going to be high. So, but you can see it. He's natural inside. Obviously, he has the ability. If you just watching him and Will McClay and I were talking, he reminds you just on first impression as far as his movement traits. He's somewhere kind of between CD and Cedric Wilson. I mean, that's his body type, and I think that's a great comparable, and I think it illustrates what we're looking for. When you have that type of skill set where you can come in here and have the ability to play inside and outside, I think it's a real value.
Does he have number 18 for a purpose? Does that remind you of Randall at all?
That's a great question, and a lot of love and respect for Randall Cobb, but I really had nothing to do with the numbers. So.
Dan was saying when you went to Ole Miss after the workout, the session he had with Sam, he turned to you and said, I'd love to be able to coach this guy. Can you just talk about what you saw in that session and what you envision Williams fitting in here as either a rotational guy or a chance to be a little bit more early?
I mean, definitely. I mean, the plane ride home from there, was as we ate our Jersey subs or whatever the hell it was, beating that storm out of there. But just coming back from the flight over, I think we were all in agreement on that. I mean, I can remember, one of the things I do on a daily basis, I have kind of a check-in moment with Will McClay, and he's always in there watching college tape, and I don't recall when it was, October-ish, November, and he had Sam on, he was watching Sam in his office. And so obviously made a huge impression on both of us that day, and then at the workout, you can see the ability. I mean, and I'm going back to the start of it, and I'm talking about when he was doing the bench press with his teammates and the camaraderie and the interaction, and there was just so much to love about him. And then Dan actually running the workout was awesome, but I mean, you could see right away, in the workout that this guy had, top first round type ability. So yeah, we were definitely very excited about him on the plane ride, and just went to work on the other questions that we had, and obviously we felt very comfortable, and we felt very fortunate that he was still there in the second round.
Does he look like a player that's only been playing for 5 years? I think he said he started his senior year in high school. Does he look like a player?
I think we'd all agree Sam Williams looks like a guy that was born to play professional football. So I mean, he has the gifts. He has the physical traits. I mean, he had 2 pass rushes today, and I know we were just in helmets, but he was clean in the backfield, and he has that kind of ability. So he's in a great place. He's obviously in an excellent system, that he'll definitely benefit from. So I think he'll do extremely well early for us.
With CD's ascent to the flanker position and Cedric no longer being here, what's the outlook at punt returner?
Frankly, that was a little bit part of the tracking drill that we did. And we'll do it. We'll do it again tomorrow. It's something that I did in my time in Green Bay. And frankly, I just wanted to see a guy track a ball. We didn't instruct him on anything. I said I don't want any coaching. I don't care if the guy's never caught a punt. I want to see him just track a football. So tomorrow we'll do the kickoff. We won't use the punt rotation that we use today. So and that's part of that evaluation, Michael. I mean, we'll look at the guys that have done it, and and I think as Steven says all the time, and it's so true. Player acquisition never stops. So, but that's definitely something we got to get answered.
That was a pretty long line of guys who were doing that tracker drill. Is that just a reflection of just kind of where you are on the roster, or is it usually that involved with so many different guys?
Oh, that's the way I've always done it. Yeah, that drill's really to watch all the perimeter players handle the football. I think, you've seen the way we practice. Our team fundamental drills. It's all. Everything we do is about taking care of the football, taking away. I think it's reflected in our turnover differential. So last year it was where it needs to be. But something you got to work out. I mean, everybody works at it, but I think how you do it and how much you do it factors into. You get what you put into things. That's the game of football, and we only have so much time. Every time you turn around, they're telling you how long you can be on the field, and and I think that those type of drills you really get a lot out of.
have you finalized anything with the Chargers if you're going to practice against them before the preseason?
You're ahead of me. I'm sorry. I just, finally got the news exactly when we're playing. So, we're going to, looks like we're going to be able to play, Saturdays, just, talking with Denver. And I haven't talked to the Chargers yet personally, but I'll speed dial all you guys as soon as I get it done. So I know, you got to get your hotel rooms or whatever. So.
Just to check in on Zeke and his health. Where is he? Is he 100%?
Christ, excuse me. You're saying that. I would hope so. I mean, I just, because I was looking at the GPS yesterday of the workouts. I think Tuesday. I mean, 22 mile an hour. That's 22 mile an hour. Maybe is pretty damn good. So yeah, he looks great.
It's
The
update.
continuity that you have on your staff this year, say.
I'm sorry?
The continuity with your
Yes.
coaching staff. If Prince has come in, why is he the right guy at this time? And I know you had some familiarity, within the division, but was it also his relationship with Kellen?
I think all those things are important. I've known of Robert, from across the field for a long time. I have a lot of respect for, how his receivers have played over the years. Obviously, I think anytime you can have a connection with your coordinators, that's something I believed in. I know as a coordinator, and it wasn't a negative experience, but I know when I was my first time as a coordinator, when a coordinator is not part of the hiring of the assistants, it sets up potential for some things on your staff that could. That's right. We're not mandatory yet, right? So we'll let that go. But it sets up for situations. So my point is, I like it when the coordinator has a relationship with an assistant coach. If you bring it in, I think it's beneficial. And all of our coordinators have been part of every assistant coach hiring, and that's just the way I've always done it as a head coach. So yeah, that's definitely a real benefit. But his resume speaks for itself. He's brought a lot of energy to that room, and I think he's been the right fit for us.
Coming to the locker room, we saw Kelvin Joseph. Any update on that situation, and how has he been throughout this whole process?
I do not have an update on that situation, and I understand the concern, and I just want you to know that when the situation occurred, we had a lot of internal conversation. That was really in depth, and based off the information that we've been given, we felt it was important to support him, and he's been here every day. He's having a very productive off season so far.
Thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you. Well, that was easy. Thanks. Son.
We got to walk.